Hey everybody, as you're logging on, we've got a big truck going by, so I'm gonna wait just a second, but I didn't want to keep anyone waiting. I thought it would be done going by and then it stopped, and I didn't want to get started before it went by. So traffic is working out over there. As you can see, we are outside because at least here in the Twin Cities area, it is absolutely gorgeous outside. And I thought it would be some great kind of enrichment opportunity for this particular great horned owl for International Owl Awareness Day. So this is a bird you've maybe seen a couple times before. This is a great horned owl that has lived with us for quite a long time here at the Raptor Center. We call her Samantha. So she is one of the older birds in our collection. So you've probably seen her on a lot of stuff from us here at the Raptor Center. And since she is kind of partially retired, I wanted to still give her some good opportunities to get outside, see some new things, see some vehicles going by. We've got goldfinches flying overhead, we've got butterflies, we have people walking by. So it's gonna be a whole host of kind of interesting things while we're out here. So I guess we'll see how well the internet holds up, and we'll see how well the ambient noise goes. But in the meantime, we're going to be reading for International Owl Day. We are going to be reading Owls. Who are they? So this is a great book that has a lot of really good information about owls. So I thought it was a really good one for today. You notice I put some tabs in here just because I'll be keeping an eye on the time, but just in case, this one's pretty dense, and just in case it gets a little bit long, it might end up being a two-parter. So we'll see. I'd love to finish it all today, but there's a lot of good stuff, and I was gonna try to go through and find my favorite pages, and then I realized I liked all of them. So we'll just get started and see what happens. So this is Owls, Who Are They? By Kila, Jarvis and Denver W. Holt. Illustrated by Leslie Leroux and Courtney Couch in cooperation with the Owl Research Institute. So again, great book, lots of information. So let's just get started. So here, right away, there's this like wonderful diagram of different parts of an owl labeling the tufts. We have the facial disc, that big round face. We have, of course, the eyes or the bill, and the bill or the beak. We have the wing, we have the chest, we have the belly down here. We have foot, and then the claws or the talons. And then down here, of course, we have the tail. So this great diagram right away to start off with. Got kind of breezy out here, so you can see those tufts kind of wiggling in the wind as we sit out here. But the breeze feels so good. All right. Who do you know that has eyes as big as yours, loves to stay up late, but would choose a mouse over pizza for lunch? A great horned owl? Maybe a barred owl? Either of these birds fit that description, along with many other species of owls. Read on and explore the amazing adaptations and natural history of these silent-winged creatures of the night. And here is a nice drawing of a great horned owl with that round face and those big eyes. So this one says, owls are ancient. Bones and other remains of ancient animal life, called fossils, tells us that owls have lived on Earth for 55 million years. So, owls have been around more than 1 million times longer than you have. If you studied ancient cave paintings, tools, artwork, and legends, you would discover that owls have fascinated people for thousands of years. In some cultures, people thought owls were symbols of life and good health. In other cultures, people thought owls brought bad luck or even death. The European little owl was sacred to Athena, the goddess of wisdom, who was worshipped by the Greeks in ancient times. The Greeks created sculptures and paintings of the wise goddess and the owl. Greek coins pictured the little owl on one side and the face of Athena on the other. On the island of Sicily, off the coast of Italy, people dreaded the very sight and sound of an owl. Sicilians believed that if a horned owl sang near a sick person's home for 3 days, the sick person would die. If the owl sang near a healthy family's home, Sicilians thought someone in the family would develop tonsil pain. Today, you will find owls in stories, songs, poems, and cartoons. So here are just some examples of many, many, many throughout the world. Here's a cave painting. This is an ancient Greek coin. Here's an owl sculpture. And here's a scene from the poem, The Owl and the Pussycat. So owls have appeared all over the world, doing all sorts of things. So let's learn some real facts about owls. Birds of prey. Like hawks and eagles, owls are called raptors, or birds of prey, which means they use sharp talons and curved bills to hunt, kill, and eat other animals. But owls are different from hawks and eagles in several ways. Most owls have huge heads, stocky bodies, soft feathers, short tails, and a reversible toe that can point either forward or backward. Where are we going? Just turning around, trying to keep an eye out to see if she needs to go somewhere. Where were we? An owl's eyes face forward like yours do. Most owl species are active at night, not in the daytime. According to scientists, there are 160 to 175 species of owls in the world. They live on every continent except icy Antarctica. Owls belong to a group of birds called strigiformes. That group is divided into two smaller groups known as families. So, a side note, because this is one of my favorite subjects, strigiformes is the name for the order that owls are in, and then there are two families. The family called Titanidae includes barn owls, which have heart-shaped faces. The second family, Strigidae, includes all other owls, most of which have round faces. So you can see that barn owl with its heart-shaped face, and then you can see the great horned owl with a round face. So we have our great horned owl here with her round face. She's a member of Strigidae. Just a very fancy name for a family. From the tops of their heads. Ears? Horns? No. Those two bunches of feathers that look like ears are tufts. Tufts are specialized feathers that stand up from the heads of many kinds of owls. They have nothing to do with hearing and are much too soft to be horns. Owls use tufts to help camouflage or disguise themselves. When the tufts are raised, they resemble small twigs or branches. They help the owl stay hidden from predators, animals that hunt other animals. Owls hide from songbirds too, because the little birds dive and make a racket when they spot an owl, a behavior called mobbing. The commotion warns other songbirds that an owl is in the area. Owls without visible tufts are called round-headed owls. Some round-headed owls raise their facial and eyebrow feathers to mimic tufts. I didn't make that up. There are actually quotation marks. So here is a western screech owl with its tufts raised. And then this is a northern saw-whet owl with its kind of eyebrows raised. So the kind of, I've seen them actually go even more extreme where the head is even less round and you can really see the kind of two peaks of where that facial disc kind of is. I don't know if it's picking it up, but there is the juvenile or younger barred owl inside. So the building behind us right here is the side of the Raptor Center kind of education enclosures. So normally where Sam is spending her time, and there's one bird who's making a decent amount of noise. So maybe you'll, I don't know if you could hear that, but it's happening in the background. So we're getting all sorts of owl action this morning. The better to hear you with. Where are those ears anyway? If you look deep under the head feathers of an owl, you would discover that it has a slit on each side of its skull. Each slit is a flap of skin called an ear conch, it says pronounced conch, which opens into a large ear canal. An owl opens and closes its ear conchs by using muscles beneath the rings of feathers around the owl's face. The rings of feathers are called the facial disc. The facial disc captures and funnels sound into the owl's ears, just like a TV satellite dish funnels broadcast signals into its antenna. So here's one of the wonderful, I'll give a nice close-up on this one because I really enjoyed this. There we go. So you can see this is the face of a great gray owl who has this enormous facial disc. But underneath, if you were to kind of push those feathers forward, this is that ear conch back here. This giant opening for its ear. So you can see it's a little, relatively kind of small eyes up here and then this huge space for its ears back here. So we just have our tiny little holes for our ears. But owls, they're huge, especially for a larger owl like a great gray owl or a great horned owl. Those holes or those conchs can be quite large. When it looks like at least somebody could hear the barred owl in the background. Nice ears. I'm very proud of this camera for picking up that sound. So, here's something that you can try. Gently place your pointer fingers just in front of both of your ears. Your fingers should be pointing toward each other because your ears, like those of some owls, are located directly across from each other. This is called symmetrical placement. This is called symmetrical placement. Now, move one finger down under your earlobe. The placement of your fingers shows the unique placement of some owls' ears. One ear is lower than the other. This is called asymmetrical placement. The owl uses its uneven ears to judge exactly where sounds are coming from. If an owl hears a rustling mouse or a scrambling squirrel, the sound may reach one ear before it reaches the other ear. The owl moves its head until the noise reaches both ears at the same time. Now the owl has pinpointed the location of the sound and is ready to pounce, even if the owl has not seen its prey. So here's a picture of a boreal owl. The boreal owl up here and the tiny little mouse down here in the leaves. So here is a picture of what that skull actually looks like. So you can see the beak is here, the holes for the eyes are here. Here's the higher ear kind of angled up. And here's this lower ear kind of angled down. So see if I can get like a nice close-up. So there's that picture. So what this is saying is that our ears are symmetrical. This is where the holes for our ears are. But for some owls, it's more like this, where they have one ear down here and one ear up here, like the drawing that we just saw of the boreal owl. So those are those asymmetrical ears. This car go by. You can also maybe see here on the back, there's this on the side of her wing. I'll see if I can like line my finger up there, like right along here. She's got one feather that's growing in right now. So it's still kind of encased in this, it's made out of keratin, but it feels like a really kind of thin, flaky plastic almost that covers the outside of feathers as they grow in. So as it grows in like this kind of tube shape here. I don't know if you can see, I'm trying to like line up my hand where her wing would be. So right along here, you can see that feather growing in. Hopefully you can see that too. So the eyes have it. The magnificent eyes of owls come in 3 colors. Owl species that live in North America have bright yellow or brown eyes. Some European owls have orange eyes. A thin tissue called the iris, I don't want to try to talk over cars. A thin tissue called the iris covers the front of the eye and gives the eyeball its color. What color is your iris? At the center of the iris is the dark round pupil. The pupil controls how much light gets into the eye. In the bright glare of a sunny day, the pupil shrinks to block out some of the light. At night, the pupil expands to let in lots of light. An owl's large pupils help it hunt in the dark. People once thought that owls were blind during the day. Obviously, this is false. The ferruginous pygmy owl is one of many owl species that hunt in broad daylight. So here is a ferruginous pygmy owl's face. You can see it has these big yellow eyes. A barred owl has brown eyes. And here is a European Eagle Owl that has orange eyes. So it kind of depends on kind of what of those family groups those owls are in. Looking around. Some owl species have eyes larger than yours. An owl's eyes contain cells that are sensitive to light, just like your eyes do. Named after their shapes, these cells are called rods and cones. Rods help you see in dim light. Cones help you see color. An owl's eyes are packed with rods, so the bird sees well in the dark. However, its eyes contain few cones, so what you see in color looks mostly black and white to an owl. So you have this diagram of an eye. So up here, you have the eye. So think of this as a bird that's facing this direction. So this is kind of that front lens of the eye. This is kind of where the iris is, and this open space is where the pupil is. And so these are what those cells in the back of the eye look like. So you can see why they get their names, right? This is a rod and this is a cone. So these are good for taking in light and seeing in low light. And the cones are really good for seeing color. So you have the different cones that help you see all the different colors. So that is the inside of an owl's eyeball. Oh yeah. Maybe we'll finish maybe the section on eyes this time. I think that'll be good. If you looked at a robin, you would notice that the robin has one eye on each side of its head and appears to be looking in two directions at once. This bird sees one scene with its right eye and a completely different scene with its left eye. People and owls with eyes located on the front of their face have what is called binocular vision. What we see through one eye overlaps much of what we see through the other eye. We can see an object in front of us with both eyes. Just a moment. Would you mind veering around? Thanks. There is a very kind person who was walking a dog by who's going to give us a little bit of space. I was thinking about putting another big sign up. I have a couple of them up already, but our wonderful neighbors here on the St. Paul campus, the U of M. Where were we? We were talking about binocular vision. So binocular vision helps you and owls judge how far away an object is, what size it is, and how fast it is moving. Point your chin straight forward and turn just your eyes to the right and then to the left. What did you see? The entire area that you can see at any instant without moving your head is called your field of vision. You have 180 degrees field of vision, of which 120 degrees is seen by both eyes. Owls have about 125 degrees field of vision, with up to 50 degrees seen with both eyes. You can look left or right just by shifting your eyes, but an owl must turn its entire head to look left or right. Each enormous eyeball is locked in one position by bony plates called the sclerotic ring. An owl would have to turn its whole head to the right and then the left to see what you just saw. This is not a problem though. Owls have 14 neck bones. That is double the number that you have. These neck bones, along with a special bone at the base of the skull, allow movement. An owl can turn its head 270 degrees in both directions. That is more than halfway around its body, but not quite a full turn around. Unlike you, an owl can swivel its head around to see who might be sneaking up from behind. So that was a lot. So we'll talk a little bit. I'll try to give you a better visual for what those degrees mean. But here's kind of what is being described with binocular vision. So here's an owl's skull. It's facing down. This eye sees all of this, and this eye sees all of this, and in the middle you can see they overlap. So both eyes are seeing what's directly in front of it. So when it was saying earlier, so we have 180 degrees field of vision. So I can sit here and I can hold my head still, and I can rotate my eyes this way, and I can rotate my eyes this way. So I can see kind of straight out the side. So 180 degrees, or halfway around a circle. But that means that kind of overlapping, I can see overlapping about this much in front of me. So not all the way, but most of the way are both of my eyes seeing my hands right now at the same time. In owl, it's a little bit smaller because they can't move these eyeballs, so their field of vision is more like this, and then their eyes are overlapping here in the middle. So in order to see everything that's going on around them, they have to turn their heads extra far. So I can only turn my head about this far, about half or a quarter way around the circle, or 90 degrees. Whereas this owl, as she's looking around, you've been seeing her displaying that very flexible neck. She can turn her head about 270 degrees, which is about 3/4 of a way around a circle. So that's like, if I'm facing forward right now, if I want to look over at her, if I was an owl, I could actually turn my head this way, look straight behind my back, and then keep turning my head until I was looking over at that great horned owl. So they have very flexible necks. One more page about eyesight, and then I'll see if anyone has any questions here while we wrap up. When you blink, your eyelids close from above like window shades, briefly covering your eyes. Figuring out how an owl's eyelids work is not so simple because owls have 3 sets of eyelids. An owl's upper eyelids are like yours. They cover the owl's eyes when it blinks. The lower eyelids rise from below, covering the owl's eyes when it is asleep. The third set of eyelids, called nictitating membranes, stretches from the inside corner to the outside corner of each eye. These thin, cloudy membranes close diagonally to cover the eyes. Scientists think that nictitating membranes protect, moisten, and clean the owl's eyes, just as wipers clean the windshield of a car. So here are pictures. This is all a whiskered screech owl. So here you can see its upper eyelid closing, just like ours does from the top. Here are the lower eyelids closing up from the bottom. Maybe it's getting ready to take a little nap. And then here are those third eyelids. You can see these clear eyelids, this kind of bluish color up here in the corner is the nictitating membranes closing from one corner of the eye to the other. So they kind of come through diagonally. If you have a cat at home, or a cat that you can see often, you can see these in cats too. A lot of different animals have them, but cats are really easy to see because they have such big eyes, but you'll see them closing from one side to the other. So sometimes we'll catch a picture of a bird closing its nictitating membranes. So this next section is about feathers, and I think what we'll do is we'll save this section for probably next week, and we'll learn more about feathers and habitats and owl nesting next week. But I want to make sure we have enough time for some questions here. If anyone has any questions about all we've learned about owl ears and eyes, as well as what's up with this owl here. So someone was asking right away, her left wing looks droopy, so what happened to her? So you can see, yes, this wing is kind of hangs down a little bit. So this is why this owl actually lives with us here at the Raptor Center and has for about 27 years. So this owl, we don't know exactly how old she is. She came in as an adult bird, so at least 2 years old, was 27 years ago. So she was brought in probably after being hit by a car. We don't know exactly what happened, but she was found near the side of a road with some injuries that we normally see in collisions. And one of the injuries was actually near her elbow, kind of near the elbow joint inside of this wing. And so the wing healed, but didn't heal all the way. So she's not able to either fully extend or fully tuck in that wing on that joint. So that is why she lives with us at the Raptor Center. Is everything else all good? That wing is all healed, and we're always kind of making sure that she is comfortable, but she's not able to move that wing the way that she would need to be able to fly and hunt on her own out in the wild. So even here at the Raptor Center, we've kind of adjusted her perching so everything's more low down to the ground so she can safely move around to all the different perches and her water pan and all of that here in the place that she has at the Raptor Center. So this bird is at least 29 years old, could be older, we're not sure. And then someone was asking, is it a girl or a boy? Which for great horned owls can be kind of a tricky question. Like most raptors, it's hard to tell the difference just by looking at them. With this particular great horned owl, she's from very far north in Minnesota too, where the kind of as you go further north, owls, along with a lot of other raptors and other animals, they tend to get bigger the further north you go, because when it's colder, you want a bigger body mass compared to your surface area. So you don't want a ton of exposed skin, you want a nice good thick body mass. So you tend to get larger animals the further north you go so they can stay warmer. So she's actually larger in size than a lot of our more local kind of southern Minnesota great horned owls would be. So it'd be extra tricky to kind of tell. So she's kind of especially large. And we do know that this bird is female. She has laid eggs previously. Nothing in them, kind of like a chicken egg you might get where there's nothing really in it, kind of just the yolk. No baby owl or anything. Just sometimes as you get into the springtime, your body tells you need to lay an egg sometimes if you are a great horned owl. So she has laid eggs a few times over her time here with us at the Raptor Center. So we were fairly certain she's female. Oh, someone was asking, do her kind of eyebrow feathers, I've been really liking the quotation marks, the eyebrow feathers perk up when she's paying attention? So yeah, the tufts of feathers kind of up here serve a lot of purposes for great horned owls. And you'll tend to see them go up when these owls are really kind of needing to pay attention to something. So it can be something that is maybe a potential threat. So it could be used as an automatic, like, oh, there's a scary thing over there, so I need to camouflage myself, make myself blend in with a tree that's behind me, so I'll put up the tufts so that I blend in with the bark of a tree. If you think of a tree's bark, it has a lot of jagged up and down lines. It doesn't have nice, smooth owl head-shaped lines on it. So those tufts can help them really blend in. So I'll tend to see those go up just when the great horned owls, especially, they're really paying attention to something. It could be that there's something that's potentially a threat. It could be something that's just very interesting. It could be something that has to do with getting food. So it could mean a lot of different things. But right now I think as we're looking around at all the different things going on out here, there's a lot to pay attention to. So you'll see those tufts of feathers up as she's kind of looking around. Yeah, someone noticed earlier that they perked up when the dog was walking by. Definitely, that was one of actually my first cues. I saw her kind of start to pay attention over here around the corner before I heard the jangling of the dog kind of tags on the collar. So usually a nice little like signal to me that something's coming and I just don't know where it is yet. Because her sense of hearing is, of course, way better than mine is. And her vision, probably better than mine too, in most cases. But now that we're during the day, it maybe evens the field out a little bit. Kind of looking around, there's another kind of vehicle moving its way by. I will say too, and maybe that's part of why the lighting on this might have been a little bit weird this whole time, but she has these very light colored feathers because she is from so far north in Minnesota. So you tend to see these lighter colors in areas where there are lighter colored trees or lots of snow. So she has these light colored feathers because she's from, like I said, further north. So you tend to see that difference in the camouflage. Whereas again, further down in Minnesota or in other parts of North America where there are lots of really dark colored trees, like down here where we have a lot of our oaks and our maples that have darker colored bark than they do up north. You'll tend to see the darker colors of camouflage for our great horned owls. Any last questions? I've heard that great horned owls are top predators, but do they eat each other? Really good question. I wouldn't say no, they don't. Great horned owls are not very picky, and I wouldn't put it past them. So probably at some point a great horned owl has eaten another great horned owl. I wouldn't be surprised. They definitely will catch and eat other smaller owl species for sure, as well as some other smaller raptor species, like if there's an American kestrel out or There's an excellent video of, this was not a great horned owl, but it was a close cousin of theirs, a Eurasian Eagle Owl. A great video, I'll have to find a link to it, from a nest cam. I think it was somewhere in the Middle East. It was a nest cam on a cliff watching these hawks, and you could see this eagle owl swoop up out of the dark. You realize you could see its eyes as it was hunting these hawks, and then swoops them and grabs one of them right out of the nest. I'll see if I can find that video and drop a link in the comments because it's a really cool video to watch to see this hunting style. But yeah, these large owls, great horned owls and their cousins, the eagle owls, they're very good at catching a lot of different birds while those birds are kind of nesting for the night, or if they're out a little bit too close to dusk or dawn, usually pretty good at catching those. So definitely other owls, possibly some great horned owls, but a healthy adult great horned owl shouldn't have too much to worry about as far as predators, including other great horned owls, but maybe some of the youngsters, maybe getting a little bit out of their space, or if one maybe is injured, something like that. That's usually when they have more to worry about from any predators, not just other great horned owls. Any other last questions we've got? We have some, there are also some barn swallows swooping over us right now. There's actually a nest of barn swallows on our back loading dock here at the Raptor Center, just kind of down below here. There are a couple swooping around us, along with some goldfinches right now too. I don't know if you can hear them doing their classic little potato chip call. So maybe you can hear some of those too. So, oh yeah, somebody could hear the barn owl again. Yeah, that barn owl is making lots of really fun and exciting noises. That really classic, who cooks for you kind of call. So if you're hearing one of a very large, you're seeing a large owl in your area, especially here in the upper Midwest, you're seeing a large owl, you don't know what kind it is, listen for the difference. There's that who cooks for you kind of noise you're hearing in the background. That's the barred owl. And then the hoot, 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 that's the great horned owl. So if you're seeing a large owl or signs of a large owl in your area, but you're not sure which one, listen for the difference in those sounds. It might help you out. All right, I think that will wrap us up for today. Again, keep an eye out. I know we're posting some other stuff for International Owl Awareness Day. Hopefully you all enjoyed learning a little bit about owls with me this morning. Like I said, I'll finish this up, like I said, either next week or soon. We'll finish the second part of owls. Who are they? Also, in the meantime, keep an eye on our Facebook page and our website as well for more of those online programs here. If you're interested in learning more about birds, we've been having a ton of fun working on our Raptor Zoomies. So if you're interested in having a raptor like Samantha here, join in on one of your meetings or online social gatherings, check that out. They're super fun and we've been having a ton of fun doing them. So check out our website. We are at theraptorcenter.org where you can follow the links from our website. So everyone, hopefully if you are in the Minnesota area at least and the weather is fantastic, get outside, go look for some birds. We've got, again, goldfinches are going gangbusters right now. There are a ton of them out. So go out, see some birds, stay safe and healthy everyone, and we will see you all next week for more Reading with Raptors. Bye!